Hey, it's Jenny. Okay, so super quickly, guys, kids are back in school. It's the end of summer craziness. And if you're like me, you're probably feeling super overwhelmed and your to-do list is crazy. And so I just want to talk about my strategy that has really helped me to conquer that feeling of overwhelm, conquer that to-do list, and feel like I'm not going crazy. Because if you're like me and you wear so many different hats, sometimes it can feel like you don't even know where to start. And that anxiety can sometimes just prevent you from doing anything, and sometimes you shut down or you don't enjoy the things that you're doing. And we gotta have some joy in our work. So here are my best tips. So 5 tips to tackle your to-do list. I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as I can so I don't take time away from you actually getting up and taking some action, all right? So number 1, do a brain dump. Get it all down on paper. I don't care if it's fancy, just get it down on paper, because the stuff that's floating around in your head is so much more stressful than if you have it on paper. When it's on paper, you can see how much you need to do. You can get it, you can write down every little detail, each little step of what needs to be done. It's so clear. And most times, once I get it on paper, I realize it's not as overwhelming as it was floating around in my head. And I have that sense of peace of knowing that I'm not going to forget anything because it's all right there. And I really think pen and paper is the best way to do this for a number of reasons. You can do it electronically, but I just think this should actually be a thoughtful process where you decide to write something down intentionally, and then you decide and you get the satisfaction of checking it off, and then the next week you kind of look at what you need to do and start fresh. That's just my opinion. It's worked best for me. I also like a strategy of doing something like this, which is like divided into quadrants. So I have the different roles I play: wife and mom, and self-care, and then, you know, being a coach, and then also being a doctor. And then I have a quadrant down here, which is for distractions, which are things that are not really advancing any of those roles and priorities for me, but are somehow on my plate. And I like to be able to see visually, like, this is what's distracting me so that I can stay out of that and stay focused on the important stuff. But you don't have to do that step. Like, don't overcomplicate this. Like, if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, like, just get out a piece of paper and start jotting things down. And I keep it in this, which is in my planner. And after I do it, every time something pops in my head that I might have forgotten, I just put it down. And then it's out of my brain, it's on my paper, and I don't have to have it ruining my day or stressing me out or keeping me awake at night. And that's actually a good strategy, by the way, is to do this before you go to bed if you're really anxious, because you may not do the rest of the steps, but once it's on paper, you can sleep better because you know it's there, and you know the next day when you've had some coffee and your kids are in school and you can think clearly, you can prioritize this list and start working on it. But then you won't be like waking up at night with all that stuff floating in your head and still stressing you out, right? So I'm telling you guys, this is what I did this week before my kids went back to school, and it was so great because I slept peacefully, got them off, and then moved on to the rest of these steps. So do your brain dump. Number 2, I want you to delete some things, okay? So look really critically at every single thing you wrote down and make sure you want to do it and that it's a priority. So for, you know, my role as a mom, there are some parts of being a mom that are very important to me to be actively involved in, and there's some parts that I don't mind saying are not as important. So I think I've given this example before, but like, if my kids are having a birthday, it's not super high on my priority list to hand make the birthday cake, from scratch. I don't mind just buying it, right? Or to do the decorations, or things like that. Or if there's like a school fundraiser where you're supposed to like make something, or you can just pay like some amount of money, I'll probably just say, you know what, I've got a lot going on. That's not really my forte. I'll skip making it. I'll pay the money. I'll move on, right? So, and if you've gotten obligated for some sort of event or role or something that's just not going to work for you, like it's adding too much stress, and you look in here and it's not bringing you joy and it's not getting you closer to your goals you have for yourself, then you got to say no and just say, look, you know, thank you so much for thinking of me, but right now at this point in my life with my family, I'm going to have to, you know, decline or whatever. And do not give it a second thought, okay? Like, do what advances you and your life agenda and your goals and your family needs first, and forget the rest, okay? The next thing after you do that, make sure it's really stuff that you care about, that you want to do. The next thing is, okay, delegate it. So what if there's something on here that you care about, but maybe this week you just can't get to it? Maybe your husband can do it. Maybe a friend can do it. Maybe your assistant can do it. Don't be such a perfectionist. This is me talking to myself here, that you have to control everything. So like for me, my daughter we need to make some doctor's appointments for a couple little minor things. My kids need some different shoes for school. Like, I could micromanage that, right? Or I could say, okay, I've got so much going on right now. Let me see if I can give that to my husband to delegate, because he's perfectly capable of doing those things, right? And he's a stay-at-home dad. And that's just one example. There's so many things. Like, if you want to do those things for your kids, that's fine, but delegate something else. And then, speaking of, hi guys, I'm just finishing up here. The next thing, you can't touch that, okay? The next thing that you want to do after you have, I'm distracted, after you have done your brain dump and you have deleted some things and you have delegated some things, is you need to decide what's most important. Pick the one most important thing, the thing that's going to bring your stress level down the most if you do it, the thing that has the most value, the thing with the quickest deadline. Pick it and go for it. If you have trouble deciding, which I often do, I have a really hard time prioritizing.
When you're done, we're going to pause your video, okay?
Okay, you're going to watch for me? I have some good camera people here helping me out. So what you've got to prioritize. I'm not great at prioritizing. I tend to just be this natural perfection, 100% perfectionist who's like everything is equally important. So I have my husband help me. He looks at the list with me and he helps me figure out what may be most important. Or my mentor, who's amazing, my coach and mentor, she is also great at helping me say, okay, what's really the most effective? What's going to move your business forward the most high? And pick that. So get help if you need help deciding, but choose. And the last thing is just do something. So take the first action and choose something small and simple that your brain can handle, like send one email. Or even, no, careful guys, don't move that. One email or one simple thing that doesn't overwhelm you, because that momentum of taking the first step will give you confidence and give you energy. It's just like when you have like, what's a good example of this, but motion causes more motion and more momentum, right? So it's like a flywheel or something like that. When you start and you push it, it's really hard. But as you take those first steps and you keep going, then the momentum builds and the momentum builds. And then it's easier to take the next step and the next step and the next step, right? So think of it like that. Just take the first step and do something that doesn't overwhelm your brain too much. I'm almost done. So I'm going to say the last 5 minutes. I'm going to say 5 things and then you can stop it, okay? So like I said, I'm going to keep this brief and my kids are ensuring that. Do you guys want to come sit up here while I say the last 5 things? Please don't break that. Okay. So, number 1, brain dump. Number 2, delete some things if you need to, things you don't want to do. Number 3, delegate some things. Number 4, decide what's most important, the number 1 most important thing. And number 5, just do something, anything. All right, get one thing knocked off that list and you'll feel better. All right, everybody, let me know below if this is helpful, how you like to handle your to-do list, and if there are any other topics that you love to hear about. I would be happy to share some more videos. Charlie, you want to come say bye, or are you just going to turn off the camera?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.